Oh, yes, another edition of It's Still Real to Me. I'm sorry that we were off last week. Tried to fit in an episode during the week. That's on me. Could not make the time work, so we're back to our regularly scheduled programming, and It's Still Real to Me, as well as everything Zaslow Show 2.0 is always presented by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, doesn't matter what kind, car, motorcycle, slip and fall, make sure you get Anidjar and Levine on the phone. You get an attorney on the phone immediately when you call 800-747-3733 and let them get you the money that you deserve. Again, big thanks, our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. My pal, of course, is Joey Levine, as we're doing this on a Sunday morning, a reaction show to last night's WWE Backlash. How are you, Joey? Good morning.
I'm a lot more pumped than I expected to be coming out of this show. I was ready to not even discuss it because we still have to talk about the draft because we had to skip last week. I was ready to just not even talk about Backlash. I was ready to record yesterday and just throw away a show. And
what a show.
I'm pretty hyped up now.
Okay, so a little behind the curtain here. Now, Joey had planned to go to Backlash. Joey had this plan a couple of months ago where, all right, let's go to PR. It's cheap to stay in PR. It's a cheap flight to PR. Let's go. Bad Bunny. Could be fun. Yeah. Let's go to Puerto Rico. Now Joey had some personal stuff. The timing wasn't right. So you ended up deciding a few weeks ago that you weren't going to go.
Well, and there was personal stuff. First of all, I had the Airbnb and the flight booked. I just hadn't bought the tickets yet. So I had the personal stuff, but then also there's 2 pay-per-views this month, and Roman's not on the WWE title, right? Or Universal title.
You were like, if I'm going to get on a plane, I better see Roman Reigns.
Or I got to see the show. I got to see a show, like a real show. And it felt like we were leading up to just like a glorified Raw or SmackDown. That's what it felt like we were leading up to.
Yeah, it has felt like that.
That was sort of like the last straw where I was like, all right, I got a lot going on. I'm not going to fly to Puerto Rico for a house show.
Okay, so you watched the show last night. Do you regret not going?
Well, yeah. Well, yes, for sure. I mean, just to be in that crowd, man, the crowd.
Unbelievable.
And the crazy thing is this, when the tickets went on sale for Backlash, at least in the beginning, and I don't know what ended up happening, they were only selling them as a package deal where you had to buy SmackDown and Backlash.
Well, and makes sense because if you watch SmackDown Friday night, not an empty seat in the building for either show.
And that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't have been disappointed going to both nights. Yep. SmackDown, the crowd was awesome too. And I mean, we're probably not going to talk about SmackDown at all, but the end of SmackDown with Bad Bunny putting on the LWO shirt was, to me, I was like, I don't know how they top this moment this weekend. That was an incredible moment. It's just like to go from what the LWO was in WCW to this. Like, it was a joke in WCW. And now it's like the coolest shit in wrestling. And they're like, the way they're honoring it, it's that moment was awesome. So yes, I just wish it would have been awesome to just be part of that crowd. I don't know the words to Bad Bunny's song, but I would have just.
But I wish I knew them. I wish I could have sung along.
I would have mumbled along with like that part. That's all I know.
So we're gonna do a Backlash reaction show here today. We'll do a little bit on the draft, and certainly I want to talk about what's going on with the new World Championship, which we're gonna officially find out starting tomorrow, and we got the new rosters starting tomorrow. So. Yep. We got it's almost like a season premiere of WWE tomorrow night on WWE Raw. So we're headed toward a really fun week. So I text Joey last night in the middle. I knew you weren't watching the show live, so I wasn't going to throw you any spoilers. You were watching UFC, and so I text Joey in the middle of Bad Bunny and Priest, and I just wrote, I'm not going to tell you what's going on, but this match is freaking wild.
Yeah.
And the moment that I text you that was when Galito showed up. And I couldn't believe how fun this match. Like, let's start with the match and the performer that everyone is talking about. I couldn't believe how great this match was and the whole show was. But that Bad Bunny, see, like it was a great show for a throwaway show. That Backlash was a banger. It was a fantastic show. It was so much fun. The only thing that they got wrong was not having Bad Bunny and Priest close the night. It really should. I understand why you don't. You got to present Cody Rhodes as your top baby face. Like, he's got to go on last. I get it. But, man, Bad Bunny and Priest and the way the match ended, it should have closed the show.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying, like, that's the only thing. To me, and in the moment, I was like, man, maybe this should have been the main event. But I think ultimately, part of it was I bet that Triple H probably read the crowd on SmackDown and knew that crowd was going to be hot no matter what. Like, there was something about, to me, like, I almost feel like if they would have saved Bad Bunny to the end, then the crowd would have got restless almost. Like, it was almost to a point where, like, you got to give him Bunny. You got to give him Bunny. Like, you can't make this Puerto Rican crowd wait 3.5 hours for Bad Bunny to come out. Like, so I almost was like, all right, this makes sense. Middle of the show. And either way, no matter where it was, his entrance, there was probably at least 3 moments in that match that are like replayable moments for the next 30 years.
I was watching Bad Bunny's entrance several times before we started the show this morning.
So yeah, I rewatched a lot of the show this morning when I woke up because I watched a lot of it drunk last night when I got home. But his entrance, Carlito coming out, Savio Vega coming out, Savio Vega backstage when Ray and Bad Bunny were talking backstage and then Savio Vega came into the locker room, that pop from the crowd was unbelievable.
Yep.
But then, like, I was thinking about it today, and one of the coolest things that we all love in wrestling, we experienced it 2 weeks ago at Dynamite, is when Jericho comes out and everybody sings along. I mean, it was that times a million in Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny.
Oh my God, it was so much
the
bigger.
number one musical artist on the planet in his hometown with a sold out stadium singing his show. I mean, that's a hard moment to beat at any show.
I'm watching the show last night and I'm like, I wish every pay-per-view was in Puerto Rico.
It's crazy.
They should go back there every year. But my question is, like Backlash should be Puerto Rico's every year. But my question is the crowd hot like that? You're not going to have Bad Bunny perform every year at that show. So is the crowd hot like that without Bad Bunny?
Could you?
I guess you could, but my question is, if you don't get Bad Bunny at that show, is the crowd still great like that? Because it was a WrestleMania crowd. It really was.
I think a big part of it is Bad Bunny, but a big part of it is there hasn't. When was the last time there was a?
I think it said something like 18 years, something like that.
So that's part of it. I'm sure it's just they're rabid. I mean, they have a history, like a wrestling. There's a big, obviously, with Los Boricuas and Carlito's fam, the Colognes.
I mean, that pop. What I didn't even recognize Carlito's music. And they play the music.
I didn't even hear it. I just heard them go crazy.
They play the music, and you got Dom and Finn in the ring, and they're like shook, and the camera's on them, and they're showing the crowd, and the crowd is going ape shit. I didn't know who was coming out. Yeah. And then it's Carlito, and look, credit to Corey Graves, because, man, did he nail it. And Carlito clears house and takes out the apple and says, now that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that shit was awesome.
Weren't they also, was the crowd, I think the crowd, every time he landed a punch was saying cool, right?
Oh, that's probably what they were saying, yeah.
I think they were saying cool, like every time he landed a punch.
That is probably what they were saying.
Which was awesome. And then he busts out the apple.
Oh,
spits the apple
and you know what?
face.
I wish they would use Carlito more, because when he first came, it was a one-off 2 years ago at the Royal Rumble he came out. It was like, Holy shit, Carlito, you're in amazing shape. You look awesome.
That guy has got to be gassed up. I mean, Jesus, he is jacked.
He looks awesome.
What is he? And he's got to be like in his, mid-40s probably at this point?
Oh, I was going to say he might be 50.
I think he was pretty young when he was in WWE, but he looks incredible.
Yep.
And there were, after his last appearance, I thought he was
going to, I think he did one more thing.
I also think he's been doing indies, and like every few months, there's like a rumor, like maybe Carlito will show up, maybe Carlito will show up. But I know that when this LWO stuff started, one of the things that was out there was that not only will the LWO stick around, but there's plans for more like legends and other people, like for it to expand and not just be like Legato with Ray, like for other people to get involved. So maybe he's 44. So maybe, maybe this is a way to get him back in. I think the LWO is, it's wild to me that it's as successful as it is.
No, you're right. It was a joke in WCW. It was totally like, just something for like Juventud Guerrera for people to make fun of him. When you have the NWO and then you have the LWO trying to be cool as well. Yeah. You're right. It was a joke.
I have to point something out though about the LWO. And this is going to be a quick tangent, and I apologize if I have this information in any way wrong. And I don't mean to be offensive if I come off offensive in any way. Joaquin Wilde is not Latino. He's Filipino.
Oh, is that right?
Isn't that weird? Isn't that a little weird?
See, that's interesting because that's one of those things where
now, unless I'm wrong, and like he has family that's Latino or something like that, but I've saw people tweeting about it, and then I looked it up, and the bios that I've seen, his family is Filipino. So
that's weird because that's one of those things where nobody should give a shit because it's a show. All right. It's a show. When you have Al Pacino, he's not Cuban. And he played Tony Montana, it's one of those things that we shouldn't give a shit about. But it's also one of those things where that stuff is really important in the world of wrestling. So
in his Wikipedia, he is of Filipino descent, being raised by a single mother who emigrated from the Philippines.
I mean, are we going to do Yokozuna wasn't Japanese too, right?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. People, I mean, if Yokozuna was Yokozuna right now, people would be incredibly offended.
You think so?
Yeah, because he's Samoan. he's not Japanese. He's Samoan.
He's Yokozuna.
I think people. I'm not trying to bring it up as an issue. I'm bringing it, not that I care that he's part of LWO.
Well, it seems like some people care, though, is what you're saying.
But yeah, well, I wouldn't have known that. It did get brought up. People
I didn't know
about it. But there are so many Latino wrestlers. What about Angel Garza and the other guy, the Lotharios? They're awesome. They could be in LWO. It's just that struck me as a little weird. Other than that, everything about LWO has been incredible.
So Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, and look, full credit to Damian Priest, who looked like a superstar. I mean, during that match, like he really is a big winner coming out of that match.
Certainly. Yeah.
The ending was the only end possible. There was no scenario where Bad Bunny was not winning that match. Okay. It had to go down the way that it did, but holy crap. It was so much fun. And yeah, I can't believe, and for I was definitely one of those people before WrestleMania 37. And I was there that night for WrestleMania 37. And my son and I, we couldn't believe how unbelievable Bad Bunny was. Like he flipped me in the middle of that match. I'm like, this guy's amazing, And I don't know Bad Bunny from a hole in the wall. All right. But he's not supposed to be as good. And I know he takes it serious. And I know he loves pro wrestling. And I know he's been working hard. But he's not supposed to be as good. Same thing with Logan Paul. Same thing with Logan Paul. He's not supposed to be that good. And I hope they keep using him. I hope they keep bringing him back once or twice a year,
Yeah. No, I actually, you brought up the Paul. I'm surprised there was no Paul brothers involved in any way. Because like I mentioned, Jake lives in Puerto Rico. I think Logan trains out there. And during the women's match, I think it was during the Rhea and Zelina match, they cut to the crowd, and Amanda Serrano, who is
I noticed that. Yeah,
who's one of the pound for pound best women's boxers of all time and is Puerto Rican. They showed her in the crowd, so I thought there was a reason for that, but I guess not. Yeah, but Bad Bunny is this. Now I will say, in comparison to the other guys, so there's the tripod of celebrity wrestlers, right? There's the top three.
Yeah.
There's Logan Paul, there's Bad Bunny, and there's McAfee.
Yeah.
Right. In comparison to the other two, Bad Bunny has yet to have a match that's just a one-on-one straight up match where
they got to protect him a little bit. Yeah.
You know, and not that it's not great, but the street fight's great. He's done what he did. He did a rumble. He did tag matches.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had like McAfee was doing one-on-one with Adam Cole, like 30-minute match.
And McAfee did War Games too.
Yeah. Logan Paul went one-on-one with Roman Reigns.
Logan Paul is the best.
Right. But that being said, those guys are not the number one streaming artist on the planet. So like you said, there has to be they have to figure out a way to A, protect him, and B, keep him like looking good. And he has to come off great.
The match was great to me. The whole thing came off believable. It was fantastic. And holy shit, does the crowd help a match like that? It was.
Well, that's what I texted you. I said, apparently, if you're going to have a throwaway pay-per-view, the smart move is to have the number one streaming artist on the planet in his hometown.
I mean, that crowd thought it was WrestleMania. They were at WrestleMania.
It was their WrestleMania. You know what? It was their WrestleMania. Their hometown guy in their hometown. I mean, the most famous, one of the most, it's crazy too. Like you say it. I mean, I know who Bad Bunny is, obviously, but I don't listen to his music. Mm-hmm. How many WWE fans even listen to Bad Bunny's music? He is the most streamed artist on the planet. Couldn't even name a song.
I don't know any songs. Yeah,
Booker T. Well, he has a song called Booker T.
Right.
I know that song.
Yeah.
That song. And then Michael Cole referenced some song yesterday that's like I Twerk Alone or something like that.
I'm sure that came from him. I'm sure he
it got a big pop from Corey Graves. Yeah, I don't know any of his songs. It's pretty crazy.
So let's talk now about the other big moment of the night. All right, which was the women's championship with Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. And we all know going into the match, Zelina Vega has no chance winning this match. Not even a 1% chance. She has a 0% chance of beating Rhea Ripley. And we all knew that. And the crowd knew that. But even with all of that said, the crowd was still super invested in this match. And I walked away from this match because this is the first time in WWE/NXT, at least that I can remember, where this run right now is the first time that Zelina Vega has been a babyface. And I left this match saying to myself, I want to see a little bit more of Zelina Vega on this babyface run. That was my big takeaway. I'd like to see a little bit more of her like this because I loved her in this match. I thought she was great. I mean, look, one of the big drawbacks of one of the things I think is always going to hold Zelina Vega back. She is so tiny, just tiny.
Yeah, but that's also if they're going to, continue to go down this road with her, having her with Ray is what makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole thing. It's like, I did it. I know I was never supposed to do it and I did it. Now you can do it. Like that's the story, right?
So I want to see more of her in this role. And I got to tell you, it's like, and once the match got going, it's like, oh man, the crowd it'd be so amazing for the crowd, for her in front of her family, Puerto Rico, to win the championship. And then it's like, yeah, she totally does not have to win the championship because just her performing in front of this crowd and the reaction that she's getting, that's like, you tell me, which is a bigger moment for Zelina Vega? Everything that happened to her last night, or if at any other pay-per-view, aside WrestleMania, any other pay-per-view, she were to win the women's championship, which is a bigger moment for her?
I mean, I think it's probably easy to say last night.
It is last night.
It's in her hometown, but like her whole career is being a wrestler. Like
last night made her career. That was the moment of her career.
It was, but I mean, if I'm going to play devil's advocate on the other side, it's that she didn't work her whole career to lose a match at home. She's working her whole career to try to be a champion, right?
So. I mean, I think she just worked her whole career and had a championship match in representing her home country in her home country. I think that was as big a moment she's ever going to have in her career. It was probably enormous.
Well, it is because
she's crying at the start of the match.
I know it is the biggest moment of her career and will be because she's probably never going to get a WrestleMania moment.
But take away WrestleMania. What if she won? What if she won the women's championship match at Armageddon?
No, that wouldn't.
That night is so much bigger.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So much bigger.
Yeah.
That's my point.
And the point, and when she went out to her mom, and her mom gave her the chancla, and she took that out and started. that was hilarious.
And she threw it at Rhea. Yeah. She's crying at the beginning of the match. I'm sitting there in my Zaslow Mansion family, like somebody's cutting onions in here, man. Yeah. It was such her coming out draped, her dress being the Puerto Rican flag.
The one thing I would have liked was if they would have flipped the flag a little, like because of the camera. Now it'd probably look cool in person, but the way her gear was if you looked at the bag from the gear from the back, the flag went left to right.
Okay.
Right. But then if you looked at it straight on, it went right to left, which is not really the way the flag is. Although it is kind of that way if you reverse it. But on camera, they showed her face because they wanted to show her face. So the flag looked reversed. So I wish her gear was the other way so you would have seen the flag the right way. But either way, it was very cool. The flag, to me, for some reason, that stuck out. It looked awkward, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But there was something weird about the way the flag looked until she turned around, and I was like, oh, okay, now this makes sense.
I was really happy for her, the whole, like, all of it. I'd like to see more of her on this run, I thought she was great.
I mean, she's as long as LWO is as hot as they are, which I don't see this changing anytime soon.
Right.
I think she will be. I think she will be involved.
Bianca Belair and Io Sky open the match. Can you explain to me? I guess I turned around for a second and I missed the whole Bayley distraction. They're clearly leaning on that. They're going to break up at some point. What did Bayley do that distracted Io? Which, by the way, I thought in that sequence there, I thought Io was about to win the title.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly why. So if you go back and watch it, if you notice when they're coming out, Dakota is trying to tell Bayley not to go. She's like, no, she doesn't need help. It was like almost like trying to convince her, like, stop butting in.
And what do you make? They use Io's music, not Damage Control.
Right. Yeah. No, Io's it's clear they're heading towards Io being, first of all, last night, Io was the face. They were booing Bianca Belair.
Yep. So they booed her at the end when she hit her finisher. They booed.
Yeah. So they are leaning towards Io being a babyface and breaking up.
I don't think they're leaning toward them breaking up. I don't think they're leaning toward Io being a babyface.
No. Well, I think she is the babyface of that group, and I think she's going to be a babyface.
Oh, I thought they're going to turn Bayley babyface.
No. Bayley's too good as a heel.
I know she is, but I feel like the crowd's ready to cheer for Bayley.
I don't know. It feels like they're ready to cheer for Io.
I hope so. I mean, I think Io Sky is one of the best.
Don't Bayley and Dakota have a title shot this week, right? I think they have a title shot because they beat Raquel and Liv last week.
But isn't it going to be Io and Dakota turn on Bayley? Don't you think?
I think Io.
Just Io?
I could see Io winning Money in the Bank.
When is that? That's the next pay-per-view?
No, next pay-per-view is Night of Champions.
Oh, at the end of this month, right. And then in June is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. It's in London.
Yeah.
In London.
Yeah.
That crowd's gonna be nuts.
They were great at Clash at the Castle.
London crowds for anything are awesome. But anyways, no, I think it's gonna be Io that's gonna be. To be honest, it seems like different pockets of the WWE universe, so to speak, are ready to cheer for all of them because people love Dakota Kai too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I think Dakota. I don't know if they all just break up, but Dakota's a great heel also. I
thought Io was going to win last night. I did. They had
the only one I don't love as a heel is Io. She seems a little weird. Also, like
she was a great heel in NXT.
Was she a heel? I thought everyone liked her.
When they turned her to where she's kind of like kooky and she's got the new music.
I remember that. I remember the NXT version.
Who was it she turned on? Candice LeRae. She turned on Candice LeRae, and that's when she became a heel.
But this version, I don't love because I feel like she just looks drunk.
Well, yeah, that's always been it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't this. I don't know. I'm ready. I'm ready for
this.
For face,
she wasn't this hammered every time she came out.
It is very dangerous for her to be this drunk in the ring. I mean,
it's very pronounced. Her drinking.
Speaking of dangerous, the spot at the end where Bianca with the one arm thing, she dropped her on her face.
Yeah, that
looked terrible. That looked awful.
Yeah,
that was really bad. And you know what else is getting a lot of attention? Bayley's outfit.
What about it?
I don't know if you. It was basically like you saw her ass.
Like, oh, okay.
There was cut, like it was like cut out, and then when she got in the ring,
isn't that Rhea every week when she fights?
No. I'm not talking about like you see the bottom of her ass coming out of the shorts. I'm talking about there was like cutouts in the pants where you could like kind of just see her ass, and then when she was trying to interfere, she was obviously like leaning into the ring, and the cameraman got a good shot, and everyone's like, what is this outfit? This is crazy. This is not a very Bayley outfit.
I like it.
It was something. Yeah.
I like it. Okay. So that's where we're headed. The match was great. Great match to start the night. I'll tell you what else was a great match. The second match of the night, Seth Rollins and Omos. That was a great match.
Do you see this as?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good shit.
I mean,
that's Bayley's ass that he's showing me from last night.
I mean, that's something.
Seth Rollins and Omos was a great match. The finish was fun. Omos is clearly getting better. My only problem here, yes, Seth Rollins, they're clearly establishing as a guy who could win whatever the tournament's going to be for the world championship, all right? But is Omos ever going to win a match?
I mean, Road Dogg had an interview where he said he has more upside than Andre the Giant. So I think maybe.
All right, but Andre the Giant was undefeated until Hulk Hogan beat him.
Well,
I mean, Omos never wins.
No.
He's got to win
isn't that historically what they do to guys that they're planning on pushing big? Like they have them just lose, and then eventually they get the big win.
It's funny. Like
although you shouldn't, but when you're a giant, you probably shouldn't have to go through that. Like when you're a giant, you should probably be beating up people.
How about the only big match that Omos has ever won was he squashed AJ Styles. AJ Styles can't handle Omos. Everybody else beats him.
But although Omos should get wins with this with last night, with last night. Yeah, I mean, with Rollins, it's like you have to have him in this title tournament, and you can't have him in if he loses to Omos. So
yeah,
it was a weird match to begin with. It just got thrown in there,
but it was good. It was a really good match. It was really fun. It was a good.
Omos is pretty good. I mean, he's
got better.
He is pretty good. He also like. He's entertaining like character. Like when he talks.
I told you, I've never been down on Omos. Like even when they announced Omos versus Brock WrestleMania, I'm like, all right, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of Omos's what happened is that he debuted towards the end of Vince, and everyone was like, "Oh, here we go, another."
And squashing
giant.
AJ was stupid.
But also, just I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, here we go, another giant that Vince loves that can't do anything, so we're just gonna hate him just because he's a Vince giant that he's shoving down our throat."
Right.
Didn't give him a chance. But if you, from the very beginning, you could tell he's a little more athletic than your typical like 7-footer that they just throw in there. Like he can move a little bit. He's pretty good. So I think they'll do something with him. But he's got to get a win, I guess, soon. Right?
You know who I'm really impressed with, man? Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed's also great. Man. He looks like Bam Bam Bigelow out there. I dig Bronson Reed, man. He's
like I mean, unless I'm forgetting Bam Bam. He's like twice the size of Bam Bam, isn't he? He's like 2 Bam Bam.
Yeah, he's definitely a little bit bigger than Bam Bam.
He's a big boy.
But he reminds me of Bam Bam Bigelow, man. The way that he moves out there.
He's very good. He's very good.
That typhoon splash, is that what they call it? His finisher?
Yeah. He did a moonsault last night.
Yeah. Well, that's like Bam Bam. He used to do moonsault, you know?
Yeah. But he's like, God, he's a big guy. And you know what else I like about him is his backstage persona too. He dresses in a suit.
Yeah, I like that.
He's like a all business, very
it's
good.
Like,
heel,
hey, I know
gimmick.
I'm good looking. I'm fat as hell, but I'm good looking. You know?
He
gives off that vibe.
Yeah, and he's like, look, I'm here for business. I'm here to kick your ass. I'm not here to like play games or any of that. I'm a professional. I look good, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I like him.
The right guy won. Austin Theory retaining, but like, where are we going from there with the other two guys? Are they gonna are we gonna feud? Do you think with Lashley and Bronson Reed?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, they'll be in one of the triple threat matches, and whoever the third person is in that match wins it, and that maybe it starts a feud between the two of them.
Okay.
Like they cause each other to lose, something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is I need to see either. First of all, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but if LA Knight doesn't win the tournament on SmackDown,
Yo, what happened with LA Knight on SmackDown? Because I didn't see all of SmackDown on Friday.
Well, he wasn't on Smack. He did a dark match, and the crowd apparently the crowd was losing.
That's what I was going to say, because apparently he was way over in his match on SmackDown, right?
No, but he didn't have a match. He had a dark match, and apparently the crowd went crazy for.
Well, let's go. Come on.
Yeah, no, it's time, right? It's time for something. It's because what I was going to say was if he doesn't win this tournament, then it's got to be him and Theory.
No, I was going to say, I mean, they could set him up for Money in the Bank.
Sure, that too, but there's time. Like he's got to do something between now and then, and he's obviously a face, and everyone hates Theory. Like that's a good program right there. Or I could, not that I want this for him because I think he should be doing bigger stuff. Something with him and Grayson Waller, who's now on SmackDown, would be good because Grayson Waller is awesome too.
All right, we'll get to that stuff in a second here. Bloodline versus Sammy and Riddle and KO. The big story here. I'm glad the Bloodline won. Tired of seeing the Bloodline lose. I'm glad the Bloodline won, but the story's obviously Solo and Jay. But I think this is one of those scenarios where they're teasing it. I don't think we're actually going to get it. They're teasing the dissension there. Roman apparently still has not spoken to the Usos since WrestleMania. I mean, can we get it maybe on Friday on what would be the premiere, I guess, with the new rosters? Like that feels like what we're setting up. Like maybe they're going to be. I can imagine the show starting on Friday with the Usos and Solo, and they're about to go at it. Boom, Roman's music hits. Roman's back. He hasn't been back in a month, and we finally get this whole scenario addressed right in front of everybody.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play it out because my biggest, again, to your point, my biggest takeaway from the whole match was the moment where Solo grabbed Jay, but it was less about that Solo grabbed Jay because we knew that was coming, and more what Jay said to him in that moment where he was like, "I'm your brother.
Yep,
I'm your brother, not him. He's not your brother. I'm your brother."
Yep,
referencing that Roman is his cousin and they're actually brothers.
Yep,
and then he didn't do it.
Yeah, it's good shit.
So now the question is Roman going to be mad at Solo for not doing the job? Because it was on Friday. The whole show Friday was that you had the Usos had their match, their title match or whatever, or they had whatever was going on, and Heyman was like, "It's you have to, it's your time to finish this. It's your night. This is your night." The tribal chief said it's your night, and Solo hasn't finished whatever the tribal chief wants him to finish here, which they are implying that he has to finish the Usos, and he still hasn't done it. So now is Roman going to turn his frustration to Solo?
It's about time Roman returns. It's got to be Friday, right?
Right.
It's about time.
Doesn't this seem like it's all still leading to what we talked about? I feel like a few months ago now, which is everyone turns their back on Roman. Like Roman's losing his mind. Roman is on his own. He's the only one with titles. No one's doing
anything. Are we going to get a moment where Roman is standing on one side of the ring, the Usos are standing on the other, and all of a sudden Solo goes and stands with the Usos and they're all staring at Roman?
It's possible. I think I brought this up when it first started happening, but for months now, and before the Cody thing, there was a point where they wore the Bloodline shirt with all of them,
and now it's just Roman and Paul, right?
But that was it was months ago. But I noticed it when it happened because I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's just him and Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And that was part of what led me to think we're heading down a path where he gets a little more crazy, he gets a little more paranoid, and he's been no one's doing what he wants. All the Usos have to do is finish the KO and Sami Zayn problem. They can't do it. All the Usos have to do is win titles. They can't do it. All Solo has to do is finish the Riddle problem. He can't do it. Now all Solo has to do is finish the Usos. He can't do like no one's doing anything the Tribal Chief wants them to do.
Right.
No one will listen to the Tribal Chief.
Right.
So I think eventually he gets pissed to where they turn on him. Solo also.